don't say. Born to play. Every day don't say. Hello.
Good evening. I'm Lou Goldstein, and welcome to part 2 of my interview with Peg Wright, who is the president and CEO of Great Expectations, the Center for Great Expectations. And we're continuing our discussion from last time, and those of you who have watched it, I'm sure you enjoyed it, and those of you who missed it, we're going to try to give you a short recap. But first of all, Peg, thanks for coming back. I know you have a very busy schedule, but thanks for coming in and doing this elongated interview today. So for those of you who may or may not know Peg, as I said before, is the president and CEO of the Center for Great Expectations since 1998, when she founded the center to assist homeless pregnant women and adolescents in breaking the cycle of homelessness, abuse, and addiction. The program began in a donated house in Sayreville, serving 12 women per year, and has grown exponentially over the years. Peg is a very modest person, and I know she'll be a little bothered by this, but she's won numerous awards, but that's because she has been recognized for the excellent work she does, as well as what the center does. And this September 23rd, she's going to receive Somerset County Business Partnership 70th Citizen of the Year Award, which is a high honor for all her work and service to the community. She has already received the New Jersey State Governor's Award for Public Service by the state of New Jersey, which is the Jefferson Awards Foundation. And she was also named Citizen of the Year by the New Jersey Psychology Association, which is an award given to a non-psychologist who has made significant contributions to the idea of mental health or social welfare. She's changed the lives of many people, all for the good. And Peg, once again, thank you so much for all the great work that you're doing. And we want to get everybody informed about all the great work that's going on at the Center for Great Expectations, because I know there's a lot of people out there with deep pockets and they don't know which nonprofit to give. And I think that if they look very carefully inward, they'll realize just the great work that's being done at CGE. So let's talk a little bit about what we talked about in the first edition. CGE's in its 23rd year. And so basically, let's give a brief synopsis of the center, what it does, who it serves, et cetera.
Great, thank you, Lou. Well, our primary population are pregnant or parenting women and adolescents. We do serve men in our outpatient program,
okay,
but our focus and our expertise is around women and children. We founded, as you said, in 1998, the center. And in 2008, which is how long it took, we expanded the residential components of the center and built 2 buildings in Somerset, New Jersey, one dedicated to adult women and one to adolescents. And then we recognized we needed additional services, so we opened an outpatient program. We also decided that after women completed treatment, that they needed continued support, so we opened supportive housing. We have 28 supportive housing units, and we serve roughly 56 people in those. And in addition, we also have an in-home program. So when women are suffering from substance use, have recently delivered children, we offer early relational health, substance use disorder counseling, and case management to really assist them in getting on their feet.
Right.
One thing that I didn't mention even in the first segment, Lou, was the Institute. And the Institute was created actually right before the pandemic, so it's been a little tough to launch, but
right.
We've taken all of the expertise that we've had over the last 23 years and created training and consultation in the clinical area. And we also created a program for schools to incorporate social emotional learning and create cultures in schools that are, essentially primed for success for students and teachers alike. So
it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it really has grown over the years.
It has.
And when you think back to the start of it, how did you? What made you think that this is something I really want to do? This is something that's needed. What was the connection in your mind to something that you would enjoy doing? Because you came from basically a private sector background,
I did.
you know, into a public service background. And what was the trigger in your mind saying that, you know what, this is what I want to do?
Well, I think, you know, to begin with, Sister Rita Wilkie really just inspired me to see that, you know, there was a tremendous unmet need.
Right.
And she had a very clear thought around what that needed to look like. And she shared that with me, and I just jumped on it. I thought it was, you know, tremendous. My own background, you know, and it's interesting, Lou, now that I think about, you know, retrospectively how the agency has grown.
Right.
And, you know, this happens to me all the time. So, for example, I think about my early years, and I was an adopted child. My birth mother was basically sent off to Washington, D.C. By the matriarch of her family to give birth to me. You know, I landed in an orphanage.
Right.
Now, what we learn now is that those experiences, the cortisol in my birth mother at the time was surging, creating what we call my first ACE, or my first adverse childhood experience, even before I was born. The second one occurred in an orphanage. I mean, that's not a happy place.
No, I mean.
And
How long were you in the orphanage?
not long,
No?
but
Okay.
you know, it was foundational. A couple of months.
Okay.
I was then adopted by a very loving family who did the best they could, but my mother suffered from mental health issues. So those types of things were clearly, you know, a setup, if you will,
Right.
to mitigate pain. How do you do it? Well, you know, when I was 16, went to my cousin's wedding, had my first drink, I was on the floor. It was like, this is nirvana, this is perfect, this helps.
Because it relieved the pain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, so when I look at the history of the center and how we created a trauma-informed model of care, and again, this is coming from an exquisitely competent clinical staff that's said to me, basically, this is how it needs to happen. And I'm open enough now and teachable enough to say, of course, that makes perfect sense. Right. So that happened, and then after that, we incorporated early relational health, or looking at the attachment or the relationship between the mother and infant, and what her own experience was, and how that can be different, you know, in her own life. So, you know, the parallels are just amazing to me when I think about it. And it's, again, it's kind of looking back and seeing how things move forward.
When you think about the work that CGE has done over the years, what stands out in your mind most?
You know, I think that we talk about a trauma-informed model of care. It's a buzzword now.
Right.
Everyone uses it. What I think about are the incredible competence and care and compassion of the team. They're amazing. They're just amazing. And what is really interesting is people coming in from the outside, and not necessarily people in the behavioral health care field, but friends of mine like, you know, Bob Campbell, who is the company group chairman at J&J. He'll say to me, Peg, when you walk in, you can feel it. And you can. You know, it's almost like when you're, you know, so close to something that it's like, you know, you can't even see it. But I get this feedback from people all the time. And it is clearly the people in the organization that create that environment which allows people to feel safe. And that's where the healing can begin. And that's how it works.
Okay. So, you know, we're going through, and I say we're still going through, you know, the pandemic, and recently we're seeing, you know, a surge again in the number of, you know, infections, et cetera. And I know it's been a challenge the last year and a half for everybody, in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
So what were some of the challenges for your organization, you know, during the pandemic that we're going through right now?
Well, I mean, The first challenge was, what do we do? I mean, we have 20 women in a residential setting. We have to have frontline staff there. We have to have clinical staff there. How will this work?
Right.
And it was crazy. I mean, we had to scramble to really create protocols that, we weren't familiar with. I mean, thank God we have nursing staff, we have advanced practice nursing staff and psychiatrists. So very quickly, we put a plan in place to, mitigate harm and create a structure and protocols that would keep people, as safe as we possibly could. The other thing that we did was we offered vaccinations on site.
Okay.
Every Monday,
Right.
everybody could show up and get their vaccinations, and we continue that for quite some time. So that was a critical piece, but people stepped up. They were amazing. They really were. That's what they do, and telehealth became something that will be, I think, retained over time. It turned out to be, a very effective way to continue to offer care to people from our outpatient and our in-home programs.
Okay.
And it really was, a great way to, mitigate barriers that we currently have, like around childcare or transportation. But so, that was something we learned. We learned that we could do training in webinars. And we did that. We offered free trainings, all over the state to, not only clinicians, but companies that may have been experiencing a lot of stress and trying to deal with children at home and working and, doing homeschooling. So, when you think about it, when you rewind the tape and think about what everyone has been through,
Right.
extraordinary, really extraordinary.
It's been a challenging time.
Unbelievable.
I know you have a lot going on, and I know everyone has challenges. So, knowing some of the challenges that you're currently facing, and knowing where you've been over the last couple decades, what's your vision for the future? Where do you see CGE going?
Well, I truly believe that a community health approach is the way to go. Especially in the big cities where we see the greatest need, and really connecting community partners to come together in order to offer a system of care that will offer folks, in particular, those with mental health and substance use disorder issues, the support that they need. And, years ago, we started with what is called Housing First. And, it was a bit ahead of its time. People can't get well if they don't have a roof over their head.
Right.
It's just not possible. So, that's something that I'm very, very focused on, looking to creating additional supportive housing and marrying the behavioral health services that folks need along with childcare. I mean, those things have to be in place in order to be able to live a life.
How about food security, too?
That's the other thing, absolutely.
Yeah.
Food insecurity is a big issue. I mean, in our supportive housing, in our in-home programs, our case managers that's something they do.
Right.
They bring food to our families. So it's tough.
Tough. Now, I know you have various offices around the state, that you serve. I know, there's one in Somerset, and there's Bridgewater in New Brunswick, and recently you opened one in Newark.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about that office?
So the office in Newark is currently shared with St. James, Federally Qualified Healthcare Center.
Okay.
So the staff in the START program, which is the in-home program, share that space.
Right.
And we also partner with the Prevention is Key group. So they have peer support meetings in our START offices in the evening. We have a behaviorist within the FQHC at St. James with Nicole Fields.
Okay.
And we'll be expanding that into the South Ward.
Nice.
And that should be happening in January.
Okay.
We're also, Nicole is expanding in the West Ward as well. But again, the pandemic really put a crink in that, you know, with regard to building. She's actually building a new physical plant. But that's tough in this environment right now.
Well, hopefully soon things will open up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, hopefully. One of the things I wanted to ask you is, do you keep in touch with some of your former clients? And, you know, do you have any successes that you could share with us?
We do. You know, that's, I think, and we missed it last year, but we have an alumni picnic every year.
Okay.
And it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Women come back with their children, and you know, we just have the grandest time. And they see one another, and it's very exciting. It's very exciting.
They reconnect.
They reconnect, and you know, they celebrate, you know, their lives and where they are. And obviously, you know, the ones that are doing well are the ones that return. You know, so it's you know, it's interesting. You know, when you see individuals or agencies talk about, you know, an 80% success rate, they're lying. It's not happening. Trust me. No. Because, you know, you really need a community support system. And that's what we're moving towards. And really meeting people where they are. And that's how it works. So, you know, we track 3, 6, 9, and 12 months when we can find people. And that's just real. So
it's good. So one of the things that I know you've had some great moments and memories. Do you have any favorite moments or memories of, you know, clients that you've worked with, or just things that happened at CGE that, you know, put a smile on your face?
Well, you know, I think it is so wonderful to see a woman enter the program. My office happens to be in the women's adult program, so I see those women more often than anybody else. And they'll enter, and they're downtrodden, and they're just looking really sad, and end up isolating for a little while, and over time, incrementally, often we see it's literally like a flower blossoming. I mean, it's extraordinary. It really is extraordinary, and you know, that's why we do what we do, and there's nothing like it.
Now, do you take on volunteers too?
We have hundreds of volunteers.
There's maybe people watching that want to volunteer.
Absolutely.
And how would they get in touch with you if they do?
If they go to our website, which is www.cge-nj.org, there's a spot right on the website where they can learn all about volunteer opportunities. That was a problem in the pandemic, as you can imagine. I mean, one of the favorite places for volunteers was our Child Development Center, and we had to stop taking all of them. So that was rough. But we have volunteers that work on the gala. We have volunteers in the child development. We have just a myriad of opportunities for volunteers.
So there's a lot of opportunities. If anybody is watching, wants to volunteer,
absolutely,
they should just go to the website and, you know, check it out, and then they'll be put in touch with the appropriate people.
Definitely.
It's great. I know since the first episode, you know, we have people that want to donate financially too, and because they know the good work you're doing. So how do they do that?
They can do that on the website too.
Okay, website.
Absolutely. It's
one size fits all.
And we're actually upgrading the website, but there's definitely a donate button on the website.
Okay.
And, you know, and I would encourage people to call me. Come and see the center.
Okay.
Looking at what we do on the website, there are a couple of videos that'll give you some sense of it. But the real sense is when you walk in the door and you really feel and see the impact of what we do. And it's
yeah, it's tangible.
It really is.
It's tangible when you walk around, and
it's palpable. You can see, you can feel it.
Yeah, you can see it, feel it, talk to people, get a sense of, you know, the mission and, you know, what you've accomplished. And yeah, so really, if you're in the area, or if you want to be in the area, you know, please give Peg a call in advance, or, you know, just, you know, contact her or the organization, and she'd be more than happy to help you and, you know, walk you around and show you the place. So another thing I wanted to ask you is that you have a mission statement that talks about safe place, safe presence, safe path. So how does this inform treatment? Well,
you know, Sister Rita wrote that mission statement.
Yeah.
And she wrote it before anyone came up with the term trauma-informed. But really, that's what trauma-informed is. It's creating safety. And it sounds easy. It's not.
Right.
You know, staff need to be in a place where their own regulation, their own emotional regulation is in check. It's hard to do when someone is freaking out and in your face, and they can't help it. That's where they are.
Right.
But our response to that kind of emotion needs to be regulated and calm. And it's throughout the system, really. So it starts with the person that answers the phone, you know, or, you know, the person that's doing all the maintenance in the system. It has to be embedded and woven throughout the system, and it is. And it takes time to get there.
Okay.
So, but we've done that, and we've created that safe place. And the presence piece is about all of the people.
Right.
And I often say, you know, it is people who heal people.
It's true.
That's how it works.
It's true. Now, it takes a lot of pennies to run this facility.
It does.
And you know, financially, how are you doing? I mean, do you get grants? Do you look for private donations? A combination?
All of the above.
All of the above?
We have an $8.3 million budget. 70% of it is federal, state, contracts, grants, foundations. We raise $1.3 million. It's not enough.
Right.
We want to grow it, and we can't grow it with just, so we're actually have launched an endowment campaign, and I'm excited about that. I mean, we've been around long enough, we have enough data, people know who we are, they trust us, we're accountable, and I think that's so critical. You know, if you want to invest in an agency, an organization that's making an impact, you want them to be accountable, because people have choices, you know. And there are a lot of places that need help. So, you know, I'm proud of the fact that we can show them exactly what the impact would be on their investment in breaking generational cycles of abuse and addiction and neglect. And at the end of the day, that's, our children are our future. And if we can do that, then we're really doing something very important. So,
has there been any ideas about approaching school districts, you know, throughout the state, and trying to, you know, get them to inform, inform students in the practice so that you can get in at the earliest possible stage to educate people and students, you know, as they grow up, and, you know, working with school districts, because you know, it's an important facet, and it's important things, and maybe all school districts should have this as part of their curriculum.
I agree. I think, you know, we piloted the school-attuned model, the emotionally attuned school model at Hunterdon Central.
Okay. And
collected data, pre and post, fantastic results. Right. We're currently in Wallingford, Connecticut, and that's a middle or younger grade group. And, you know, as I mentioned, we launched this thing right as the pandemic hit, so it's been a little tough. I mean, people are trying to get their sea legs,
right,
you know, as it relates to schools. But, you know, I have great expectations around what the impact that we'll have in schools with what we're doing. We've already seen it, so it's very exciting.
Are you looking more toward the, like, 6 to 12 grade level, or?
I think we need to start there.
Okay.
I really do. I mean, you know, as I mentioned, Hunterdon Central had fantastic results with, you know, and felt like, and what was one of the most wonderful things that we heard, you know, my chief training officer is so incredibly effective, as some of the people that train under him are. And people, the teachers in the school and the administration were saying, you know, we're using these tools that we've learned at home.
Right.
And it's really made a difference there as well. So, you know, we train administration and teachers, we train students, and we offer training to parents. And that's the package in the school-attuned model.
So you do train parents too?
Yeah.
Oh, that's important.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
So before we end today, I know you have a big gala coming up on October 1st.
We do.
And I thought maybe you could talk a little bit about that and tell us about what's going on.
Well, we're excited. It'll be at the Hyatt in New Brunswick, and we are honoring former Governor Chris Christie and his wife Mary Pat, who were incredibly instrumental in helping us for the 8 years that he was in office, and very grateful for his support. And we also have, 2 sets of volunteers who we're honoring, who we couldn't do what we do without their help.
Right.
So it's key. It's October 1st.
Okay.
It's a great night. We have a great band. It'll be a lot of fun, and we'll be able to make money to help really expand the service of the center. Well, actually, that's not true. It's a line item in my budget. Just saying.
Right. Clarifying the budget line. That's okay.
Just right.
But no, everybody, basically, if you're available October 1st, come out. It is a great night, as Pat said, and it's a great thing. Peg runs a great show. The gala's great, and it really is a good thing. And you'll feel good about yourself, not just going and giving money, but also being able to talk to a lot of people and the fine work that they do at the center. So I just wanted to talk to you one more time about, the center, and we talked a little bit about the mission and a little bit about the vision, but we never really concluded about, where would you like to see this CGE? Say it's 10 years from now, we're in the year 2030, and apart from being fully funded and doing great work, what would you like to see? Where would you like to see CGE down the road?
Well, I think when we complete, the project that we have in mind in Newark, and we're able to expand the supportive housing, the outpatient treatment and child development,
right,
and marry that with the community mental health center, we will have completed the vision for the continuum. And then I think we need to expand the Institute, because the way that the Institute would be able to inform others around the treatment model, the model of care, I think that's where it's at. And I think that we can do that on a nationwide basis and really, make an impact in that way. And in addition to that, that approach would not be dependent on state and federal money. And the further I can get away from that, the better. So, that's, I think, for sustainability purposes, I think that is the way to go.
Well, Peg Wright, thank you so much. Wishing you much luck in the future with the Center for Great Expectations. And for those of you who want to volunteer or write a check, please go to their website, and hopefully I'll get it right this time. It's www.cge-nj.org, and you'll learn a whole lot about it. You'll feel good about it, and if you're in town at the Hyatt in New Brunswick, October 1st is the gala, and you can come on in, say hello to Peg and everybody else who works at CGE. So, but in the interim, thank you. Keep up the good work, Peg. Congratulations on all the recognition for the work that you're doing for so many people.
Thank you, Lou. It was a pleasure.
Oh, it's great having you here. Well, I'm Lou Goldstein. Thank you for watching our show tonight, and we'll look forward to having new newsmakers in our shows in the coming weeks. So until then, enjoy the rest of your summer. Stay healthy, stay active, and stay focused. Have a good night.